So we're back with Chapter 5, Lesson 3, B, the second half of the war. Last time we talked about everything leading up to the Declaration of Independence. Up to this point, this is not a war for independence. This is just a war to settle some problems, and people aren't even sure what they're fighting for. Is to just, are we trying to stop fighting? Are we trying to make peace with England? Should somebody be apologizing for this? Big misunderstanding. What's the deal here? So we've had the shot heard around the world at Lexington conquered. The British have started to take back land at the Battle of Bunker Hill, which I don't need you to know that battle specifically, but we had Common Sense published, and at the Second Continental Congress, they vote to declare their independence. That we looked at 2 lessons ago, lesson 2, some of the philosophies in this. This is the breakup note, and we write this because if you're going to do something that's this monumental, you want the rest of the world to understand why. You don't want to be seen as a country that's ungrateful or spoiled or chaotic. You want people to know that you have thought this through. So this is meant as an explanation of why this war is happening so that everybody understands.
On July 2nd, there's a crisis meeting in Philadelphia. 50 delegates, elected to the Continental Congress from the 13 colonies, hold an emergency session. They include radicals like Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams. What they're debating is nothing less than high treason, total independence from Britain. The penalty is death. On July 4th, 1776, the delegates ratify a document that will change the world, the Declaration of Independence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Now, soldiers like Plum Martin have something worth fighting for.
And they declare their independence. July 4th, 1776. Things go on. The Battle of Long Island doesn't go well for the colonists in New York. Things go right. The Battle of Trenton. At the end of that year, Washington crosses the Delaware. So it's an upswing where things go well as Washington makes a very bold maneuver. Benjamin Franklin goes and visits France to try and work out some help. So he goes to France to ask for their help. France, French-Indian War, no love for England necessarily, but I'll just say it, no love for England. France doesn't want to get involved in another war if they could lose, so they're not sure they want to help out unless they have a chance of winning. They prove that at the Battle of Saratoga. The Battle of Saratoga, the Continental Army wins. A decisive victory. This is not a fluke. Somebody could have said that the Battle of Trenton was luck and cleverness, but the Battle of Saratoga is a battle that the colonists, the Continental Army, clearly win.
A new British army of 8,000 men heads south from Loyalist Canada. Its objective: kill off the American Revolution once and for all. They're led by General John Burgoyne, an aristocrat, politician, and art lover. He's also one of the best cavalry officers in the British military. Burgoyne pushes south, following the Hudson River. His army is like a mobile city. The Redcoats are accompanied by 2,000 servants, wives and mistresses. "200 supply wagons carry 84 tons of powder and shot, as well as silver and porcelain tableware for the officers' meals." Burgoyne's plan is simple. He's traveling from St. John's in Canada, 170 miles south to Saratoga, deep in the interior of the New York colony. Then he'll link up with the victorious British Army in New York City, cutting the colonies into two parts. But the American frontier becomes the British Army's enemy. Now Washington unleashes revolutionary new tactics and a totally new type of soldier. Men who learned their skills on the frontier. British redcoats are trained for open battlefields. Now they face rebel sharpshooters hidden in dense cover. Leading them, Daniel Morgan, hard drinker, gambler, brawler, and now the colonel of an elite corps of 500 riflemen. Burgoyne's route takes him through dense forest over 5 times larger than all of England. Trees once intended to build British ships now become rebel roadblocks. The British are sitting ducks. Their advance slows to just a mile a day. The march south becomes a 6-week nightmare. The sharpshooters know the land and have technology on their side. Morgan's men are armed with American long rifles. They're lightweight, with a slender barrel at least 40 inches long, and fire a 50 caliber shot a half-inch wide. Based on a German hunting weapon, the guns have a unique American innovation. Grooves inside the barrel that spin the shot, stabilizing it, giving it deadly accuracy. Armed with this rifle, Patriot marksmen can hit a target 250 yards away, more than 3 times the average distance of a modern FBI sniper shot, and twice the range of the British muskets. The tide of the war is about to change. Morgan's plan: first take out Burgoyne's Native American scouts. 400 have allied themselves with the British to preserve their ancestral lands. But Morgan and his men now use traditional Native American tactics against them. They attack using speed, stealth, and surprise. After months of guerrilla warfare, all the scouts are dead or desert behind enemy lines. Any knowledge the redcoats had of the terrain goes with them. The rebels are rewriting the rules of war, and they're about to do it again. Now the two armies meet near Saratoga. Here the rebels break the rules of 18th century warfare and start targeting British officers. The plan: leave the foot soldiers leaderless. In Britain's 53rd Regiment, all but one of its 11 officers are killed or wounded. tactic of assassinating officers appalls the British. On the defensive, the British regroup under General Simon Fraser. He brings fresh spirit to the beleaguered British Army. Daniel Morgan, commander of the sharpshooters, acts fast.
Shimmy on up that tree and take out the redcoat on his high horse.
His best shooter is an illiterate frontiersman from Ireland, Tim Murphy. This shot will turn the tide of the war. The first shot misses.
This left.
The second skims his horse.
Too high. Reload. Come on. Take him out.
The third hits home. Without leadership, the British lose 1,000 men. Twice as many as the Patriots. On October 17, 1777, General Burgoyne surrenders. It's a turning point. The victory persuades Britain's greatest rival, France, to join the war on America's side. Now the French Navy will force the British to fight a war on two fronts, land and sea.
And that marks a turning point in the war, because that's when France says, yes, we will help you. We have Valley Forge, a time of testing for the Continental Army under the leadership of George Washington, where he holds the army together by his the strength of his personality and their love for him. The years go by, and the colonists have to create a system of laws, because they realize if they're trying to be in their own country, they need a system. So they create the Articles of Confederation, a system of laws that they're going to use as the rules for their country. So the Continental Congress meets to create the Articles of Confederation. These are the rule book for these colonies as a country together. It creates the name of the United States of America, which we still use today. And eventually we close in with the help of the French on the surrender at Yorktown, the end of the war.
What remains of the British Army is under siege in Yorktown. Trapped in the city, the Redcoats wait for reinforcements. But back in Britain, the war is unpopular and costing far too much money. A force of 400 break through and storm the British fort. Fighting in close combat with bayonets, they beat the Redcoats back. 2 days later, the British surrender and begin negotiations for peace. The rebels have achieved the impossible. The United States is the only country to win independence from the British in war.
Lord Cornwallis, the general of the British Army, surrenders at Yorktown. He has the British Army at Yorktown with the French Navy in the waters behind him, to the east of him, and the Continental Army closing in on him on the west, and he has no choice but to surrender. And that marks the end of fighting. It takes several years until in Paris, the British and the new free colonies meet in Paris, France. Dun, 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 dun. Treaty of Paris. And this painting you see here, you'll notice that something seems to be missing over here. You see Ben Franklin there. This is the people sent from the United States to sign the Treaty of Paris. It's in Paris, France. they're sent there to talk and sign a treaty with the British. The British, though, they come in, sign it, and they head right back out. And they don't sit down for the painting. So they didn't quite understand that this was the beginning of something very important. They weren't happy that they lost the colonies. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions for tomorrow, or whenever the heck you come to class.